Welcome to Resume the Podcast. I'm your host, Courtney Page, and I'm here to spread the message that you can, in fact, be happy in your career. I'm a former executive recruiter turned career coach, and I am obsessed with learning about why people have chosen their career, what led them to that decision, and how they achieved happiness in the process. So, come join the ongoing conversation that exposes you to career paths of all origins with one thing in common: happiness. So, press play and let's resume the conversation with this week's episode. Welcome to Resume, the podcast where self-discovery meets professional growth. I am so excited to tell you guys about our upcoming series of bi-weekly solo episodes. We've been having a lot of great feedback on the solo episodes that we've already released. So the next 10 episodes, I decided to kind of bunch them together and create a little bit more of a through line. And these next 10 episodes are so exciting because they are focusing on the world of personality tests, quizzes, and other specifications within that realm. And if you know me, you know that I love personality tests. So each episode will shine a light on a different tool from, the well-known, Myers-Briggs type indicator to Enneagram, all the way through to zodiac signs. It's going to be very exciting. We'll dive into how these personality assessments can offer us valuable insights into our ideal career paths, help us understand our core motivations, and help guide us toward a life of purpose and fulfillment. Who doesn't want that? Whether you're on the hunt for your passion, or you're just looking to maybe pivot in your career, or simply curious about what makes you tick, these next 10 episodes promise to unlock new levels of self-awareness and professional alignment that you honestly may not have even known existed. So join us for a bi-weekly exploration of self as we uncover how understanding our unique personalities can lead us to the work that we're meant to do. Enjoy this week's episode on the journey of finding your purpose through the lens of personality. Welcome to Resume and our first of many solo episodes, I believe about 10 episodes that we are going to be looking in depth personality tests and quizzes, which if you know me, you know that I am so obsessed with. So I'm very excited for the next 10 episodes, solo episodes. And this first one is one of the lesser known ones, I'd say, but I think it's such a great tool. And so I first heard about it maybe 5 years ago, maybe more. And I don't even know where I heard about it. I think it was when I was looking into blue zones, because this one comes from a blue zone. And if you don't know what a blue zone is, I'm going to do a whole episode on that after these 10 personality and purpose episodes. So what am I talking about? This is a tool that if you are like, what is my purpose? Why am I here? What is the best job for me? This is a great tool. And also, who hasn't thought that? If you've ever asked yourself, what is my purpose? Why am I here? What career should I go after? We've all asked ourselves that at one point in time, whether it's when you're in school, out of school, or like when you're retiring, right? Let me tell you, it's a super universal thought and worry that you're just not going to fulfill your purpose, that you have no idea why you're here and you're wasting your life, or you're wasting your time in a job that you don't like, or that you can't really see yourself feeling fulfilled by it for the long term, right? So if you've ever thought that, keep listening. Today, we are looking into a profound philosophy that has captivated minds and spirits across the globe. It is called Ikigai, which is such a fun word to say. I love saying it. And I should just say, there is an amazing TED Talk on this. It's about like 12 minutes long. I'm going to link it in our show notes. It is from Tim Tamashiro, and he knows a lot about Ikigai, and he talks all about it in this talk. And he does go over how to pronounce it. And I love the way he explains it because he says it's like smiling, right? So it's a fun word to say. It kind of makes you smile. And that is kind of on purpose, right? A lot of people go around saying Ikigai, which is like not as nice, right? So it's ee-key-gahy, like a key in the middle, ee-key-gahy. And this is a Japanese concept that is often translated as a reason for being or life purpose or a reason for waking up. And it so seamlessly intertwines passion, profession, hobbies, and mission. Hobbies can also be known as vocation. And this intertwinement, right, helps to reveal these kind of like secret paths to happiness and longevity. And I should note that Ikigai originates in Okinawa, which is one of the blue zones that I mentioned earlier, and it has the largest population of 100-year-olds per capita. So I think, that's a pretty good, that's a pretty good voucher for this. It's also the place where karate came from, which is also pretty cool. So Ikigai basically helps to unravel like what your purpose is. And I think we've all wondered that at some point or another, right? And, whether you're searching for like direction or just a deeper sense of purpose, or you're just simply curious about maybe incorporating more joy and satisfaction into your everyday, we're going to talk about all of that in this episode and all of what Ikigai can do in terms of promising some insights and inspirations that will kind of just help guide you on your path, right? So let's talk about the 4 pillars of Ikigai. There are 4 pillars, which is great, but it actually gets a little bit more complex than that. It sounds really simple, and then it kind of gets a little bit like more and more and more fine-tuned, if you will. So basically, to get started, if you're doing this along with me, awesome. If you're in a car driving, just wait until you get home, come back to this and listen. But what you do is you make a double Venn diagram, right? So you do 2 circles, Venn diagram like normal, and then you do almost like a vertical one. So there's a circle on top and a circle on the bottom, and then there's one to the left and one to the right. And there should be a little space in the middle where all of them overlap, okay? So the 4 pillars are what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. So let's go through and kind of get more precise on what each one of those means. What you love or your passion is something that you just like cannot get enough of. It's something that you stay up looking at posts about, or something that really makes your ears kind of prick up when you hear it like off in the distance, right? Or something that when you start talking about it, you notice that you're just like, you're talking really fast and you're really excited. It's that's the thing that you love. You don't even have to be good at it, which is the best part. Like, it's just something that you really love. You could love cooking and not really be that great at it, but like, who cares? It's fun. What you're good at is different. So that is something that people come to you for. So think about what you think you're good at, and then think about what do people come to you for. So for example, I have a friend who I always go to her if I have an iPhone issue, because I am not technologically, excitable in any way. I'm not, a tech whiz, but she is, and that's great. So if I have any question or any issue with an iPhone or, internets, I will go to her and be like, hey, can you please help me with this? And she's amazing. It's like she has this like extra part of her brain that just does that. Other people, maybe it's, like I said, maybe it's cooking, maybe it's someone's birthday and you're like, hey, will you make that dish that you make really, really well? And all the other ones too, please. Or, maybe it's someone who is just like the life of a party. And it's like, that you have to have them at this gathering because it's just going to make it all make sense, right? Or it could be someone who you're like, hey, proofread this for me. Proofread this email, please, before I send it to my boss, because you know that they have that eye for detail. So whatever it is that you are good at, what people come to you for, think about that. The next one is what the world needs. This one is obviously much more big picture, and it's not necessarily what you think other people think that society thinks that the world should need, right? It's what you personally think that the world needs. So that doesn't mean that you might not agree with somebody else's what the world needs circle, right? For example, someone might be really, really passionate about ending childhood hunger. Great. That's very noble. And I'm sure almost everybody, hopefully everybody listening would be like, yeah, that is definitely something that the world needs. But it might not be the thing that like ignites you, right? So what the world needs in your little circle is whatever you personally think that the world needs. So like if you're a teacher and teaching and kids education is something that's really, really important to you, you might think that there might need to be better access to education or access to healthcare or, better childcare, better paid family leave, whatever it is. That's what the world needs in your little circle. What you can be paid for is the next one. And that is more of like your, actual profession. So you can either look at what you've been paid for before in the past, if that isn't an option for you, if you're like kind of just coming out of school or you're in high school right now and listening to this. You can also think about what you can do based on your talents, your education, and also like what society needs. So a great little tip here, something that other people already get paid for, but that also lines up with your talents and education. So you could look at, if you are really, really good with animals and you're going to school right now to be a vet tech or to be a veterinarian, that's great. You might not have all the credentials to go out and do that right now, but you can go and work at a vet's office doing something else while you get those credentials, or maybe it is just going through school, coming out and being a veterinarian. That is great. And that is a profession. So after you make your little Venn diagram, double Venn diagram, you fill all those in and then you look at the spaces between the circles. So there should be a little overlap between love and needs, between needs and money, between money and skills, and between skills and love. So then in between those little spaces, or in those little spaces, you see what common words pop up in each of those. Okay. So look through, there might be some overlap. You might not have any, but you probably do. And then you write those in the center, right in the center where all of them overlap. So if you have, teaching, kids, and fun, put all those in the middle, right? That is your Ikigai, which is like so exciting. You kind of figured it out. It's really fun and it's not that complicated. And you can take as much time as you want or as little time as you want and kind of like go back to it and refine it. But whatever happens, whatever ends up in the middle, just sit with it for a moment and see how it feels, because there might be some resistance, and that's okay. That resistance is just your little survival mechanism popping up, because what that little circle says might be a really big life disruptor. That's okay. It might mean like, oh shit, I'm in the wrong job. I'm in a completely different industry than this. How would I even start to implement that in my life, right? Or if it feels good, maybe it's what you're doing now. Great. You listened to that intuition and you got there. Wonderful. So to get even more clear, we can simplify it down to just one word. Tim Tamashiro, in his TED Talk, he has this list of words that basically covers most Ikigai. So here's the list. To, so it's always a verb, to serve, to create, to delight, to nourish, to provide, to teach, to heal, to connect, to build. Do any of those words make your ears perk up? Do you gravitate towards any of those? I'm going to say it again. To serve, to create, to delight, to nourish, to provide, to teach, to heal, to connect, to build. So if any of those kind of, stood out and really resonated, how does that word and the word that's in the middle relate? How do those kind of fit together? Are they the same word? I mean, maybe teach, maybe you're a teacher and teach, to teach, there it is. Or maybe you just sit with the word in the center, in that center circle for a while and notice where it shows up in your life and how you relate to it and how it relates to this list of words. And one thing that I should say that I think is very important is that Ikigai is not, it's not like an answer really. It seems like it is, but it's more a journey. So, which sounds really cliche, but you can do this exercise and come back to it in a month. You can come back to it in 6 months and see, is this the same? Like, was I kind of in this kind of mood that day, and this word actually has not, like, I don't even know why I wrote this down, Or maybe you come back and you're like, yeah, those words really do actually like fit. Like that must be something very real to me. So you can play with it over time. And I think that is actually maybe the healthiest way to go about it, because sometimes we'll like take a personality test and we're like, okay, I guess this is like the answer to me. And yes, I think it can be a supporting pillar in the tapestry that is you. But I think what is the most useful thing about personality tests is that you can take what works, right? You can kind of like, if it really resonates, then go with it. If you're like, this does not seem anything like me, then like, it doesn't matter, just leave it. But for Ikigai, if you're looking at this and you're like, oh my God, this is like totally different than what I'm doing in my life right now, and you're just like not ready to go for it, that's okay too. Maybe you're just not in a place. Maybe you are really busy with other things and, doing a complete 180 is just not going to work right now. That's okay. But I think it's an important tool to have in your back pocket. So when you are ready, you can go ahead and look at it again. And if you are ready right now, awesome. This will hopefully have helped bring a little bit more direction, a little bit more confirmation to you. So thank you so much for tuning in today. I am going to link the Tim Tamashiro TED Talk because I think it's amazing. Tim Tamashiro, by the way, if you're listening, I think you are just delightful and I would love to have you on the show. If not, then maybe you'll see this someday. Okay. Thank you so much. This was, again, the first episode in our little personality purpose series where every other week we are looking into different personality and purpose exercises and how you can use them to further understand your purpose and career. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for joining me on this one, and I will see you next week for one of our interview episodes. Woohoo! Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode. I'm so grateful for your precious time and energy. And if anything resonated with you, please feel free to share with a friend and subscribe. If you're interested in career coaching, I would love to hear from you. Email me at Courtney@resume-careers.com and follow me on Instagram at Courtney Austin Page. Thank you so much and see you next week.